Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Another day, another show by BW Hotelier. Welcome to the 19th show of this GM series, the 2022 GM series. Today is our 6th show of the West and the second in Goa. And I couldn't have asked for a better team to kick in this show. And what a team, what a unit. Just a moment, sorry. A lively bunch of hardened professionals who run deep vessels in Goa, who've delivered results day on day, and who've come back so strongly after the last 2 years of lockdowns and COVID, etc., etc. I think these 2 years have made everybody more resilient with a lot of grit to go on and succeed. This, incidentally, is the penultimate show of the series, which we shall be ending on the 29th of March, which is the coming Tuesday. After 20 shows, after 4.5 months, makes me slightly emotional that I shall not be preparing for a Thursday and now Tuesday as well. Getting ready to be live at 5 p.m. But life has to go on. There'll be another series starting, right? And this is the 6th show of the West, like I just said, and the second one dedicated to Goa. Goa is special. Before we draw curtains the next week, please remember to block your date for the final show. We will be back in 2023. The 2022 GM series has just been a beginning. I can only gauge the success of the series from the calls and messages that we've been getting. Do not stop it and keep going on. Somewhere one has to stop and plan for the times ahead. We are going to come back. A very interesting follow-up plan has been lined up to this series, which I shall let you know in the due course of time. Look out for us and follow bwhotelier.com online and on our social media. The show today is Hospitality in India's tourism hotspot, Goa. A tourism hotspot, Goa is. By now, you know how to reach out to all of us at BW Hotelier. Knock on our social media, call us. You all know everybody knows my number by now, right? But the email is bwhotelier@businessworld.in. So let me now begin the show after that brief introduction to the show, with the introduction now to the rather fine gentlemen who adorn the panel today. Let me begin with somebody who I think is the youngest on the show. Or is he? Sunil Kumar. Sunil Kumar is the general manager of the Westin, Goa, a passionate hotelier with over 2 decades of experience that belies his age in luxury hoteliering. Sunil has a strong business insight along with strategic planning and team development that has led him to be a key driver behind some very successful hotel openings. With a history of working with brands such as the Oberoi Hotels, St. Regis, Westin, Hyatt, Four Seasons, Sunil has extensive knowledge of organizational development, growth, process orientation, and personal management. Welcome to the show, Sunil.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna.
Now to my Delhi mate, Suveer Sodhi. Suveer Sodhi is the general manager of the Alila Diwa in Goa, an energetic and dedicated hotelier with over 16 years of experience in the industry. Suveer moved to Alila Diwa, Goa from the Hyatt Regency in Pune as part of the Hyatt and Alila coming together globally. Suveer oversees the entire operation of both Alila Diwa and the Diwa Club by Alila. He's also worked with Shangri-La Hotels and Resorts, Oman Resorts, and has set up multiple F&B concepts in Delhi, including an entrepreneurial stint where he set up his own restaurant. Excellent, that is Sunil. Suveer, welcome. I shall now take a flight to the man from Kolkata, SURAJIT. SURAJIT CHATTERJEE is the general manager of the Holiday Inn Goa, Candolim. SURAJIT hails from the beautiful city of joy, Kolkata, and is a true foodie. A travel enthusiast, having explored several countries and cities across India. With over 2 decades of exceptional industry experience, SURAJIT brings unmatched enthusiasm, extensive knowledge to the team at Holiday Inn Goa. Being in a leadership role for several years, he is a strong advocate for transparent work culture and works toward building a unified team. Welcome, SURAJIT.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna. Thank you.
Pleasure. I now head to the senior most pro of the session, Mr. Rajendran Menon. Mr. Menon is the general manager of the Zuri White Sands Goa Resort and Casino, the only one on the show who actually also manages a casino. Rajendran is a true professional with rich experience in sophisticated hotel and resort operations. An IHM Chennai alumni, he started his long innings with the Oberoi hotels at their iconic properties in Delhi, Kolkata, and Bangalore in various roles. He's worked with the Donna Sylvia Resort in Kaggallu. Rajendran successfully launched the Radisson Blu Resort in South Goa from the pre-opening stage. He started working with Zuri Hotels from 2012 and is currently holding fort as the general manager of the asset, the Zuri White Sands Goa Resort and Casino. Welcome, Rajendran. Arjun is the general manager of the Hyatt Centric Candolim Goa. He is the driving force of the Hyatt Centric Candolim Goa, possesses a rich experience of over 14 years in the hospitality industry, has worked in India, Europe, and the United States of America. Always abiding by his sacrosanct principle, he strongly believes in focusing on genuine relationships, both in business or other aspects of life, over transactional dealings for a long-term success mantra. Welcome to the show, Arjun.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khanna.
Last but not the least, Ricardo is the general manager of the Fortune Miramar in Goa, a man of varied experiences and a seasonal hotelier with 21 years of rich experience in the hospitality industry, with leading hotel brands such as Hilton, GRT, Shangri-La The Park, and Le Royal Méridien. Ricardo has been part of the Fortune Park Hotel Limited for the last 7 years, 6 of which as the general manager of the asset that he heads, the Fortune Miramar. He also has worked with Fortune Park Hotel properties in Chennai, Thane, and Dharamshala. Welcome, Ricardo.
Good afternoon. Thank you for that introduction.
Pleasure. We shall now take a very short commercial break, a film by our supporting partner, Siba, Thin Kitchen. Let me now briefly introduce the session, Hotel Business in Goa's Changing Tourism Landscape. Goa is not just truly cosmopolitan, It is an amazing tapestry of all that India stands for, be it diversity of culture and gender, or for that matter, its cuisine and way of life. Goa stands out for a very rich value and open system and affords India an amazing hospitality, travel, and tourism success story to take or to not take just to the world. But we have to emulate as they carve their fair share under the sun to be counted as India's perhaps most leading travel and tourism destination, and by virtue of that, the best hospitality destination. Having said so much, Goa's hospitality business, as the topic suggests, has undergone so much change in the tourism landscape over the years. Let us now discuss how Goa has gone beyond beaches, F&B, and has so much more to offer. Be it MICE, destination parties, and yes, weddings are the big one. Without much ado, we shall now straight away dive into the question, and let us begin with my good friend from Fortune Miramar, Ricardo. Ricardo, if you were to introduce Goa for the uninitiated as a general manager, as if you were making a pitch, what it be for the locale and for your hotel?
Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Bhuvi, I think Goa needs no introduction, but a broader view of what the state today has to offer. I think it's moved away from sun, sand, and party to people traveling to Goa for its unique culture and heritage, for its hinterland tourism and its village life and the offbeat places that Goa has to offer. Today, people travel to Goa, I think, to do things that they can't do back home. Simple things like ride a bicycle, sit in the middle of the road of, I don't know if you've heard of the Deer Zindagi Road in Para, lined with coconut trees, and take an Instagram picture over there, right? Kayaking in Palolim, drinking feni in a taverna. I think people want to do these things in Goa. They can be themselves and nobody is judging. Hotels also have captured the imagination of people. We at Fortune Miramar have put together curated experiences. I'm sure other hotels also do, where we have feni trails, we have heritage walks, tours on cycles, on e-bikes. We have fado concerts that we do, and very right from the beginning, when we came up with our property, we understood that Goa is a leisure market, and something that we did, which is our USP till today, is that our breakfast goes on till 12 noon. I mean, it's Goa at the end of the day. You cannot force people to say 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rush and breakfast is over, right? It has to be laid back, it has to be leisurely, and that's our USP, and people enjoy that at Fortune Miramar. Back in 2016, when Goa hosted the BRICS, I think it put Goa on the map. And from then on, there was no looking back. Goa is the go-to destination for MICE, for weddings, for events, and it's only getting better with the infrastructure that's coming up, the new airport, the connectivity between North and South Goa, the 2 new bridges. It's only getting better. And I would say that Goa was, is, and will be the most sought after destination in India.
You know, pretty good with the Westerners, or may I say the foreigners. Indians, I think, have taken to Goa like fish to water.
Very true.
I hardly know of anybody who doesn't take one trip a year at least to Goa, if not more trips. And they go in families, they go in gangs, and they don't go for 2 or 3 days. They go for maybe 4 or 5 or perhaps a week.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. So Goa's got a magnet, it's got a pull.
Yes.
Attracting people, and I think great weather too, apart from the offerings that it has to offer.
And I think Goa is beautiful during its monsoons also. And that's why it's a 360-year destination now.
And the sunset.
Yeah.
All right, Suveer, Delhi boy in Goa. You know, sustainability and responsible hoteliering is very dear to me. And I hardly have any session where I do not probe general managers on these 2 aspects. Tell me, sustainability and responsible hospitality are no more just buzzwords. Guests today across age groups and strata are aware, conscious, careful, and very touchy with these values. And the younger generations are absolutely clued in and can embarrass and give any non-compliant hotel a matching review which will hurt. What are your views and what's your take?
Well, good evening, Mr. Khanna. Thank you for having me on the show.
Pleasure.
I mean, it's good to be part of the show that's close to the end of your shows you've run. I've seen some of the shows myself, and congratulations to you and the team for what you did.
Thank you.
It's always been enlightening, and it's always good to see fellow colleagues talk about different cities and the business. So I think this question is also, I thank you for the question, and I'm glad you asked me about sustainability, because sustainability is very close to our heart at Hyatt Hotels, right? And Alila as a brand specifically has had this as one of its prime pillars ever since its inception, right? So Alila Hotels have always thought that sustainability is not something we do to sort of bring more guests in, but it's something that we do because that's the only way we know how to operate, right? And I think that's something that I love about the brand. Its sustainability is, I will come to your question of whether it's just a buzzword or not. But I'll first also dig in deeper of why a lot of people don't really understand how deep the term sustainability goes, right? There's a lot to offer, and a lot comes under the whole umbrella of sustainability. You're talking about energy conservation, and hotels, if they don't follow sustainability passionately, can have a huge negative impact on the environment, right? And I loved what Ricardo said about Goa. There's so much more to Goa than just its beaches, just the partying, and it's our responsibility as hoteliers to make sure that we keep it that way, right? We give back to the society. So sustainability is here to stay for sure. Sustainability is growing every day. The kind of importance, I'll give you an example. Very recently, just about last month, we installed a water bottling plant at the hotel here in Alila, Diwa, Goa. We were one of the first hotels in Goa to do that. It's a fully automated bottling plant. And just by that one small step that we made, we've actually eradicated 350,000 plastic bottles annually. Just one step that we did about a month and a half ago will have that impact on the environment, right? Small things that us as hoteliers can do. Alila has never, for example, even when it opened over a decade ago, has never used single-use plastic bottles for bathroom amenities. It's just never been something that Alila has used internationally. So I think these smaller factors, whether it's energy conservation, food is a big component. At Hyatt, one of our food philosophy is that thoughtfully sourced and carefully served. And that goes so deep into what we all do across Hyatt Hotels, where we say that, we've got these set parameters and all these initiatives. I'm sure all brands sitting here, most take sustainability as seriously as we do at Hyatt. We keep hearing about great initiatives coming from across the globe. And it's not only from what guests appreciate, but it's also some governments now give you financial aid if you're more sustainable. In the EU, for example, you get tax benefits if you're a more sustainable organization. So it's certainly here to stay. Guests care about it. It's interesting. I was reading an article in Economic Times that actually said that 79% of the Indian consumers actually change their buying decision based on whether an organization is sustainable or not.
I am one of them.
Right? Absolutely. And they spoke about 50%, if I remember, 51 or something along those lines, because your question was more about the young generation, of consumers between 18 to 24 that will go for a lesser known and a smaller brand purely because they are sustainable.
Suveer, if you were to see packaging these days, coming from anywhere, not just 5 stars or the fancy high street fine dining restaurants who are now delivering, which are eco-friendly. Mm-hmm. Most people are rejecting plastic, and anybody who rejects plastic is my friend, right? For instance, I have this, and this is the recycled bottle, right? So we could do it. I remember when we were growing up, we used to return our empty Coke bottles to get a refill, right? So I think we've rejected good practices to come to this. So just very well that Hyatt is doing so much. I mean, brands across the industry are doing a lot. But good to hear the Alila and Hyatt commitment and story. I shall move to Sunil. Sunil, let us talk about development. Development is extremely key to our industry and responsible development, right? Does Goa have the best assets across hospitality classification, right from luxury right down to budget and economy? And what and where are the scope of bringing in more assets?
Goa, I mean, in terms of brands, definitely you have from a luxury to the budget to everybody to offer to. But my only apprehensive is there is no infrastructure here. For a guest, definitely the offerings are many, but for an operator, it's not an easy city or easy village to handle. I don't think so. There's any infrastructure here. At least where I operate, we have zero infrastructure. We even struggle to simple things like, STP water is not, it's a struggle to even get the STP water out of the hotel because we don't have a drainage system, which helps to, of course, we don't generally pump out any water from the hotel. If Goa as a city where we don't have chillers, we have VRV. When we have VRV, the consumption of water is very little. And what do we do with the excess water? Even if we are ready, the tankers are not ready to come and take the water from the hotel. So things like this, which we take for granted in other cities, where becomes a luxury here for an operator. So yes, if infrastructure is good enough, I think Goa as a city would be ready to offer all the services from a luxury to select services to premium services.
So it's surprising to note while the entire country is moving into the new age so-called infrastructure, right? Goa is still lagging.
It is. As an outsider, you would not see, but once I'm sure all the general managers here would agree. It is very challenging to operate here, especially when it comes to things
We
like
all have the same challenges.
Yes, Mr. Khanna, we all have some common challenges. Like what Sunil mentioned, STP water is one of them. Throwing the sewage out is also one of them. And it also, we take a hit of the cost as well in our daily or monthly P&L. So it's actually a challenge.
So Khanna, actually, I beg to differ. And I've been here for nearly 3 decades. I have seen Goa growing. I've seen what Goa was in the 90s and what Goa is today. We have come a very long way. And it's one of a small, beautiful state out here. No doubt, it's one of the #1 destination among the domestic market. So over the years, for me, if you ask me, basic electricity is a major issue because we end up spending a lot of money on diesel and generator. But no doubt, the interiors and the resort distance, most of the resorts are based on the coastal belt. The roads are narrow. But no doubt, there is a whole lot of change which has happened over the years and is still looking up with new airport coming up, the capacity expansion.
Basically, from where we were to where we are, we've come a long way.
Definitely,
but there's a lot more to cover.
Right.
That's
All
true.
right. So that makes development a challenge. But then when the tourists are coming, when there is demand, I think you have to learn to manage these situations like everybody else is managing. Is that a right case?
So right, I think that's the right way to that's the right approach as well. I think the best way to sustain here, the best way to make an operations easy is to understand the challenges of Goa and work with it, then to go back and think about what is not there and crib about it.
True.
I think after coming from big cities like Mumbai, I think me and my team have become better planners here. We plan a week ahead, where in other cities you have to plan one day ahead. So I think it's been a great learning, and I think me and my team, and of course they're doing a fantastic job.
So after 19 episodes, this is huge learning for me.
Yeah, I think Goa is, as in, of course there are challenges, but more than challenges, there's the good part of Goa as well. I think we're just trying to nourish that and take this forward and run an operation.
I just hope the decision makers are going to hear this. So let me now move to my good friend SURAJIT CHATTERJEE. SURAJIT, tell me, coming from where Sunil has left us on infrastructure, tell me the impact of infrastructure development and connectivity. How has Goa's infrastructure and connectivity improved over the years? How do you compare it with other states, especially in the context of rail, road, and air connectivity, regional air connectivity, UDAN?
Good evening, everyone, dear friends and my dear colleagues, and thank you, Mr. Khanna, for having me on the show. It's a great pleasure to have you. In terms of infrastructure and development and connectivity, I mean, I visited Goa last in 2010, and then I came here just 3 days before the lockdown and joined holiday in Goa. So I have changed. I've seen a lot of changes actually. I mean, a state like Goa, which is highly dependent on travel and tourism, infrastructure definitely becomes a crucial part for its growth and the competitiveness market. The state of Goa is actually now in last few years, a lot of new projects coming up, like the widening of the national highway. Then there is the completion of the Atal Setu. The Zuari bridge work is happening at quite a fast pace, and also the new Mopa airport. So I am sure, things have changed, and, traveling to the airport from North Goa will be much more easier once the Zuari bridge is completed. I mean, it's on the verge of completion. Hopefully, we hear that by August it will be ready. So, and same goes for the Mopa airport. So once the Mopa airport develops, I'm sure the inflow of the tourists and, it will be much more convenient and the connectivity will be much more easier. In terms of what infrastructure needs to be improved, if I may say, there's a huge scope to improve the public transport, especially in the night time, because a lot of operations of casinos and the nightclubs, and for a general public, who's not only staying in a 5-star hotel, but people are staying in other areas and they would love to enjoy and experience Goa. And there's a lot to offer, definitely in every nook and corner of, especially in North Goa. I think the transportation is one key part which needs to be improved. There is only public transportation, and in the night it's very, very less. Currently, people are dependent on the rented scooties and cars, which at times are not much safer as well, especially in the night. So I think this is one area where the tourism should look into, or the Goa government should look into. Otherwise, if I may say, railroad and air connectivity has improved a lot. And after the new airport comes up, the road is widening up, but we need more widening up of the roads, especially, the areas which is going towards the beaches, or we have restaurants like in Anjuna or Vagator or Candolim and Candolim, and Baga has become very, very congested. So we need to look at all these things where travel becomes a little more easier for a tourist who comes and visits Goa often. So I think that's one area. Otherwise, the flight connectivity has been much better. Of course, post-pandemic, now more flights are getting connected to smaller cities, which is good news for the city, definitely. And I'm sure after the Mopa airport is developed.
What about road and rail connectivity? You haven't spoken about that.
So road transport, I already spoke about. We have only the buses.
Intra-state, for people coming from outside.
So there is a good connectivity between Karnataka, between Hyderabad and Goa, between Bombay and Goa. There are Volvo buses which travels overnight and throughout the day as well. So road connectivity is pretty good, and the highways are also pretty good. And air connectivity I already spoke about. So I think railway also has developed. There are many trains now from smaller cities as well. So rail and road connectivity is pretty good so far.
All right, excellent. SURAJIT, thank you so much. I'll move now to the man who spent 3 decades in Goa, Mr. Menon?
Not exactly. It's around 2.5 decades, you can say.
2.5 decades, yeah. You're just about getting there. So let's pick on your mind. Let us talk about air connectivity, especially because that is very important to the health of business for travel, tourism, and hospitality. How good is it from an experience, frequency, availability, and rate standpoint? How is the experience for a traveler, international or domestic?
So just to give you a brief on the airport, initially the airport was set up in 1955 by the Portuguese. And then it came as part of the Indian Navy when Goa became part of India in 1961, December. And post that, in fact, I had come in the 90s to Goa at the old airport, which is just a very basic airport with not much of F&B facilities. It is just very, very basic. Only when you had big airports like the Mumbai or the Delhi one run by GVK, now by Adani and GMR, that India got exposed to some of the best looking international airports. So today, what we say in December 2013, the current airport underwent a major renovation and an integrated modern airport was launched in December 2013, basically for both arrivals and departures. I think from that time, no doubt the Goa airport has taken a sea change and the entire experience of guests coming into Goa, whether from abroad or within the country, has dramatically and drastically changed for the better. In fact, even in the 2012-13, Goa received more than 1,200 charter flights. And unfortunately, if you see in the last 2-3 years, post-COVID, I mean, it is literally zero. And even now, recently, we had around 25 or 30 flights on the month of January onwards, when there were a few flights in Kazakhstan, and then the Russian flight started. Then unfortunately, after that, the Ukraine crisis has come. Now everything has come to a standstill. And again, charter business has gone back into history books. Even currently, when I speak, even international flights, there are very few international flights coming in. There are only one international flight, Air India flight connecting Goa to London. And there's the Air Arabia flight, which comes only once a week now. So the international flights, the government of India is planning to open out end of this month. So I think you can see a whole lot of flights, looking up and maybe trying to come to Goa at the earliest. If you see the domestic flights,
people are hungry to travel within and from outside, right?
Yeah, if you see
so I guess they're
flights,
waiting for the normal schedule to kick in.
Yeah, see what happened, for example, if you see the domestic market and the domestic flight, right now we're sitting at roughly 80% of what we had during pre-COVID. Currently, I think Goa receives around 150 to 160 flights, arrival and departure per day. And weekend, the numbers go up, and even long weekends, obviously, the numbers still further go up. But today, when you see the new, the integrated airport or the renovated one, which has come post-December 2013, there's no comparison to what we had before. Now, post that, we've got food courts available, shopping centers available, lounge available, enough seating capacity within the airport. So which gives a much smoother, better, and safe experience for the clients who come into Goa and one who depart from here with much better memories. No doubt, there is still things happening, moving. For example, the installed capacity of the current airport is only around 5.5-6 million. But 1920, we handle nearly 8.6 million passengers. So the numbers are more. As the state is growing, as the number of tourists are coming up, there is a talk, obviously the new GMR Goa International Airport is coming up in Mopa, Perne. They expected to launch on 15th August 2022, and there is a symbolic ceremonial flight which could take place on that particular day, and is supposed to be inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. I think initially they are looking at an installed capacity around 3.5 to 4 million passengers. And as the business picks up, as the flights pick up, they will ramp it up slowly. And by 2040, they are looking at handling around 35 to 40 million passengers coming only at.
Will both the airports operate concurrently or one?
Currently, as per the government of India and government of Goa, and as per the Airport Authority India, they intend keeping both the airports open. The airport in Goa, in fact, the current airport, W airport, is also undergoing renovation. They are planning to increase the capacity from 6.5-7 million to around 12 million. And equally, they'll expect the Mopa airport also to come up. So I think in the days and months and years to come, you can expect a major tourism boom in Goa. Only thing, like you said, the infrastructure has to be ready, the hotels have to be ready. I mean, everybody has to be ready for this expected boom in the years to come, maybe in a couple of years' time.
So this is great news. Finally, after the reading of the low script, so there are some high points which one can look forward to. Thank you, Mr. Menon. Arjun.
Yes.
Arjun, you've been the last over, so don't hold it against me. All right. So we come to the half point of the session. So tell me, digital is now a way of life, and it augurs so well that all parts of the hospitality business are so tuned in and adapted. Adapted, of course. Even old fogs like me are. But be it you as a hotelier, your guests, suppliers, even the government and other parts which are strict with compliance. Tell me, everything is now real time, and efficiency or the lack of it shows in the face. My question to you is, how has digitalization and technology helped you manage and run your business? Number one, if you can remember, help to have your team up to the task on an ongoing basis. And of course, the ones for whom you are there, your guests, how has it helped them?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Khanna, for this opportunity. It is
Pleasure.
lovely to hear my fellow colleagues talk. Like Suveer said, I also did follow your show, last couple of live events as well. It's very, very interesting. And I love the question that came my way, because let me start using the own sentence which you said, digital is a way of life. Imagine, we are all connected right now digitally. I'm in Mumbai, my colleagues in Goa, you in Delhi, Mumbai, all of us are connected. I think the simplest answer is, imagine a life without a phone for one day. I think 80% of our jobs general managers do will not be done. I think it's completely dead. And thanks to COVID, this is accelerated. We are currently in the fourth stage of industrial revolution. We are talking about buzzwords like fifth generation of technology. 5G is a new buzzword right now. Every mobile company starts talking about 5G. Talk from home. Like I used to tell my daughter, you have a limited screen time only over the weekends. This is pre-COVID. Bang on. Now post-COVID, everything is only online. She spends more time on her iPad. She spends more time on the computers for everything she has to do. So for Hyatt, technology is a way to show that it can scale its purpose of care, right? Nothing changed. At the end of the day, with all these things, we have a human being, human interaction at the end of it, right? We cannot completely take away the human interaction, but digital, of course, helped us majorly. What does it mean? Digital hospitality for us means creating a digital experience for our guests that mirrors the high standard of hospitality that we provide to all our guests around the globe. Without having a person right involved there. We have three basic, like you asked the question, how as a general manager use digital life to help my guests, to help my colleagues. Previously, to have to change a simple menu, my restaurants, we have to go do the proofreading, send it to the printers, the print have to come in, you laminate them, put it, it's the old school hotellerie. Today, if my chef decides tomorrow I have a new menu, upload it, QR code online, bang on, it's ready tomorrow. Such a user-friendly app. And also, I feel guests these days, if they feel something is not easily available, where they cannot ask for it, they rather don't do it. And our World of Hyatt app, right from the pre-arrival until the departure, they have an option of selecting, using the mobile as a key. They can order their extra pillows, order dental kits, shaving kits, whatever they want. They can talk to my concierge. They can see their invoice. Even after the checkout, they can go back and see how many points they have accumulated. So what we are trying to do at Hyatt is increase the engagement and improve the guest experience, right from their booking till the time they check out and even post departure as well. Also, we want to use that information, gain better insight to the guest needs, preferences. We have a fantastic system called guest experience management. Mr. Khanna stays with us once. I know what he likes. I know which side he wants the turn down to be done. What does he like in the morning for the breakfast? So it doesn't matter who's there. Next day I see you. The person comes and tells you, here's your avocado on toast. You're surprised. It's the extensive database we maintain. And thanks to digital, all I need to do is your name needs to pop in. I get all your preferences. Whether you like coffee light, you like your masala chai with sugar, without sugar. I think that's helping. So is our guests also enjoying that experience with us, because they know not just in one hotel, they can stay with Suveer in South, they can come and stay in Central at Grand Hyatt, they come and stay all the way up north in Hyatt Regency Dehradun. They know they get the same experience because they know their preference are recorded, and we do work on it accordingly.
I thought you were making an effort to make us happy.
Yeah.
It's all pre-cooked and pre-digested.
Yeah.
No. You know, digital is such an enabler. It spares you time to do the other things which were taking away time.
Absolutely.
You know, and that is where that time comes in handy to deliver, to take the guest experience to another level. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is what it is.
You know, so rather than, I remember we used to make our spreadsheets in hand.
Yes.
Draw lines. We used to use that Casio calculator, FX100, and we used to get the formulas. No more. It's all there.
No more. Yes, it's all out there.
You know, we started with the ERP, and bloody hell, where are we?
And look at what it is. While the guests are staying with us, they tell everybody through Instagram, Facebook Live. Like our conversation right now is live. All my colleagues are watching. I'm sure many people across the country are watching. Same thing is with the guests. They check into the hotel. They like something. They're immediately posting a story. They're posting a reel. They say that I'm having a fresh avocados in Goa. I'm having an avocado on toast. I'm having a fresh catch of the day. Everything is going live.
No, but having said that, you know, with the amount of images that are posted to social media, I think they don't eat it. They just order to click and post.
Yeah. You eat through the eyes first. Your camera lens eats it first before you are.
You know, so they come straight away like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good. You know, Arjun, that's quite a good readout of what you've said. And digital, thanks to digital, life is easier and good for the guests.
True.
All right, I'll just take a short break. I want to introduce the next session. I don't have a slide today, but this session we are taking down south. We're exiting out of the west after the 6 shows here. This will be the 5th show down south. And this will be on the 29th of March, right? Which is a Tuesday at 5 p.m. again. And the topic is rather interesting. Evolving role of hotel general managers, right? I mean, rather than be somebody who's like an orchestra, right? Or a check pilot or a skipper on the ship who's just ticking. A general manager is more of an entrepreneur now, right? So he behaves like he's not expected to, but they all are trained to handle their businesses as an owner. So what do smart general managers do from, of course, the previous general were classic general managers. Now, where are we headed now with the aid of technology? So be there if you gentlemen are there and everybody who's watching. This will be the last show of the series till we come back again in 2023. In between, I'm going to do something interesting, which we'll let you know on Tuesday. So I'll come back now to you, Ricardo. Are you ready? So let me post one question for you. Tell me, by road travelers, by road, you know, gentlemen who like driving, you know, who like to hold the wheel and do long distance or wherever they are. So these travelers are now more than a trickle in the backdrop of the last 2 years. The last 2 years have changed so much for us. For instance, we would have waited for a physical event to come face to face, right? So we are now all virtual. The virtual way of life is absolutely acceptable, right? So in the backdrop of the last 2 years lockdown, what is the Goa story to it? How many and how has the pie grown? How far do they come from? You know, I can keep asking you questions. How long is their stay? And are these mostly young couples with families? Or do they prefer budget hotels, or will they also opt for premium hotels, right? The driving types. And any other peculiarities? Whenever you forget, ask me, I'll tell you.
Certainly. I think the drive to Goa has always been beautiful. And depends on where you're coming from. You're either traveling through the Ghats or driving along the coast. And that makes for a very, very, very touristy drive. More so when you come during the monsoons, you think you're in a hill station when you drive to Goa, right? Because of the clouds, the mist, you driving up the Ghats. Goa itself has a lot of hilly locations. So it is picturesque, it is beautiful. Certainly now the numbers have increased. In our case, the numbers have doubled. And it's not just cars, it's bikes. Today, the number of EVs that come in have grown. We're looking at an option of putting an EV charger at the hotel.
That's very...
I know others are also, some of my colleagues and friends have it already, a few hotels in Goa who have it. So that's an option that we're looking at. Maharashtra has the most number of EVs in the country. So with the number of people who drive down from Maharashtra, I think that's a good option. Right? And driving down gives you your personal bubble. And I think that adds a lot of comfort in these trying times, uncertain times. And I think that's why things have changed. Numbers have gone up. Like in my case, I said it's doubled. And people want to drive down. And also when they drive down on their own, they get to visit offbeat areas. So that's something that's happening. Interland tourism is catching up in Goa, and they're able to go to the forts, which previously were unheard of. Goa, being a small city state, has 11 rivers. It's got 11 waterfalls. It's got a huge number of forts. People are going and exploring these things. And I think by driving down on their own, they're able to do all these things. Where do they come from? We've got people coming from Punjab, West Bengal, Gujarat, all the way from Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Yeah.
From Punjab by road to Goa?
Yes, we do. We've had guests driving down and staying at the hotel. I'm sure others have seen it too, for sure. Length of stay, in our case, it's been 2 nights, 3 days. But what we've seen with people, the more number of people driving down now, they spend some time either in the city and then on the coast, or between the north and south coast. I think so. That's why the number of the length of stay is reduced. But otherwise, it would have, in the past, it would have been longer. What was the other questions?
So tell me, are they mostly young couples with families, or do they come in groups of friends, even for the road trip?
I don't think.
And yes, of course, do they prefer budget hotels? My worry is all these people who are driving down will stay at many locations.
So I don't think it's just restricted to young couples. We have friends who drive down and come. We've got 2 MICE events happening next month, where people who are 50 and above are coming down for these 2 MICE events, and they've already checked with us what kind of parking that we have. Do we have a place for their drivers to stay and things like that? So it's not just restricted to young couples. And what has happened is, due to the pandemic, I think people have wanting to explore more. And that's why everybody's, they know life is uncertain now, times are uncertain, and hence everybody's going out, trying new things. So it's not restricted to just young couples. We have families with their elders driving down. So that's what it is. I think they stay across segments, right from budget all the way up to the luxury hotels. Villas are a big demand right now. Yes, hotels are preferred because of the parking space, because of what hotels can offer. Some of the hotels have infrastructure for the drivers also to stay. And some hotels have monetized and offer sterilization of the car, cleaning of the cars, and things like that. So that's why hotels are preferred. But yes, it's across segments that
so this is good. I mean, so this is pretty encouraging. This opens up a completely new segment. And
right.
What is very interesting is the EV infrastructure, which is coming up in hotels, right? But that tells me that people, I mean, all these people who are driving by EVs, they may be coming from Pune, Bombay, or somewhere.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, and their apps also let them know which hotel has a charging station, right?
Oh,
so they select that too. So that pops up, and that's probably a reason why they select your hotel.
The Arjun
right?
digital. The apps tell you everything.
Can't take it out of the picture.
Yeah.
And I think now with the Panvel to Edupalli expressway running through Goa, I think more people are only going to be driving down to Goa.
Oh, excellent. So this sounds so much more positive. I'm pretty happy. Tell me, Suveer, MICE is a big revenue driver, and this segment has been missed big time over the last 2 years and between the 3 lockdowns. When does it finally begin in your estimate? It has started already, but not like the gush we used to have until 2019. What can you do to help it restart? And of course, if further delayed, how will you fill the loss of this all-important segment? I mean, you have your budget, so you factored it in.
Right. No, I think that's a great question because, Mr. Khanna, MICE has been a very important business segment for Goa as a market, right? A lot of hotels have sort of made their strategies and planned event spaces based on the MICE segment, right? I mean, we were one such hotel. We built a beautiful new event space, which was meant to launch in March of 2020. The space is called Udeta. It's an 18,000 square foot indoor-outdoor space, largest indoor space in South Goa. So we were really hoping to sort of capitalize on the whole MICE and group segment, right? Also weddings, not only MICE. So it was a big blow for us. Yes, it's been a rough last 2 years. I think from a business perspective, it's been peaks and valleys. You know, it's like I was telling one of my colleagues who runs a hotel in Pune, and he said, Goa has always been busy. What are you complaining about? And I said, no, actually, it's very interesting because Goa has had extreme peaks. And then we are one of the first states to go absolutely zero, right? So we don't have that base of a few rooms occupied. When we tank, right? And I think MICE has certainly been missed. To come to your first part of the question, when do I think it will open up? It has started opening up. March has fortunately, and touch wood, I hope it stays that way, has been a very positive month across the market from a MICE segment, right? When I speak to a lot of other GMs and a lot of my colleagues, I think, so it could be 2 factors. And I'm hoping it's not the latter. First is that the market's opening up for MICE. Second is that it's a financial year end and corporates are sitting with a lot of budgets and they want to exhaust them in March, right? I hope it's not the latter and the market is really opening up. My estimate as to when it will perhaps come back to some sense of normalcy, I would say Q3, if there is no surprise that comes our way and no new wave that suddenly hits us.
What is your Q3? The English calendar or the financial?
The calendar year, not the financial year, right? So my estimate would be Q3. If all stays as it is today, it would keep ramping up slowly through Q2, and up till Q3, at some point, we should be able to potentially reach perhaps pre-COVID levels, right? Maybe some of the hotels that have even larger event spaces than our hotel might not agree because it might take slightly longer for those volume events to come back, right? So maybe your very large exhibitions might take slightly longer. They may come back in Q3. But yeah, I mean, if I had to put a time frame to it, I would think Q3 would be a good time frame.
The good news is, if you are eager for business, so are the corporates, the event organizers, and the exhibition wallahs. They're all eager to kickstart.
Absolutely.
So when both are willing, it is that Hindi saying, "Miyan bibi razi to kya karega kazi."
Right. And you know, coming to your second part of the question, if I remember the question right, you said, what could we do to encourage MICE to come back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first and foremost is that a big reason why MICE also hasn't come back is because it's dependent on inbound travel also opening up, right? The kind of companies that do events at a lot of 5-star hotels or premium hotels are international companies that need some participants coming in from overseas, right? So when those borders open up, I think that will help hugely. The plan is that is about to open up soon. So given that there is no surprise there, that should help. I think we as hoteliers need to really portray and be geared up for when MICE comes back, how we will execute events in a safe environment. How will we be able to follow COVID norms? Because when a lot of international travelers come in, they might not be as carefree as perhaps some of the domestic travelers we've seen coming into Goa over the last couple of months. You might have people being on the edge. They would really expect branded hotels to follow certain protocols, guidelines. So I think that's our big step in how we can reassure corporates and companies that we are ready to sort of welcome you back in a safe environment, right? And Hyatt's globally been talking about well-being and creating meetings in a safe environment. So we're already talking those meetings. We're already doing that for smaller meetings. I think the real win will be to portray that message out to corporates that, hey, it's safe to now come and have a large.
And also that is now a given. It's basic hygiene from a guest standpoint.
Right, absolutely.
That the hotels are ready and they will not fail us.
Absolutely.
I have to now get into my last few questions, and let's time them so that we can go within our session. I can't do that Arnab Goswami thing where you shout out and say, jaldi bolo, right? But I shall try.
But Mr. Khanna, I'm going to very quickly tell you, MICE could be replaced by weddings as the last answer to your question. If it takes longer to come, the one segment that's really supported us through these tough 2 years is weddings.
Yeah, weddings is a segment. I would actually handle them different than MICE. I would not want them to eat into MICE. जिसने शादी करवानी है उसने करवानी है. जिसने गोवा में करानी है वो गोवा में ही कराएगा. अगर दोबारा लॉकडाउन ना हो जाए और आर्य समाज मंदिर में करवानी पड़े, right?
No, I mean purely to answer third question. If MICE does get pushed forward, I mean that's the one segment that can really fill the gap, and domestic leisure has of course been a segment that's helped us.
I have my fingers crossed MICE is coming back.
Yeah.
You know, because I see the ladies, they want to be at those exhibitions. People want to be at those events. So if everybody is ready, nothing can stop them. It's just only a matter of time. But excellent, Suveer. Good to hear about your positive intent. Sunil, this question is long. It's in 2 parts, but I don't want you to take longer than my question, right? So let's see how you handle that. You know, talent is the cornerstone of this industry, right?
Yes.
Right? We need trained people. We need great talent. And talent is going to carry this industry after we people bequeath it to them.
Yeah.
I mean, running a hotel is no cakewalk down the garden path, right? It is akin to skipping a large ocean-going vessel, like I always say, with its full retinue of crew across all the functions to have a fun and successful voyage for the guests, team, and company. That is where talent comes into play, both local and the ones who are going to come from outside into Goa, or perhaps you have to bring them. What are the challenges and successes for a general manager from a talent point of view, one? And how is the local talent in the backdrop of the fact that many of them are going out, right? Whole lot of Goanis are actually working in the Middle East. They are in Portugal, they are in UK, they're in Singapore, or they're in other parts of the country.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I thought I have 2 questions, but this is, yes. So talking about manpower, talking about the talent, I have actually listed down as 2. One is challenges and one is successes through the talent. I've been here for the last 1.5 years in Goa. I can only talk about what I have experienced. Definitely because, as we're talking about, there's so much uncertainty in the economy of the market here. Like Jan and Feb, we had great business on books. Accordingly, we had talent on board. And all of a sudden on Jan 3rd, entire dynamics changed. And, we can't just let any of the talent go. We could not. And later we realized that this may happen again. Maybe a wave 4 can hit again. So we started freeze the recruitments and started managing with the talent what we have. Said that that's one of the few challenges, to have a talent fully on board, and especially with uncertain conditions of economy, is a challenge, and be managing well there. Also, as a new hotel, we have, this is a word we call baby boomers, right? We have few who are ready to adapt, and there are few who are not. With certain manpower, it was challenging to get them on board to do everything. Today I'll take an example. My egg counter in my hotel is handled by human resources in the morning at the busy hours. And those are counter, which is again supposed to be a busy counters are handled by finance. That's not a great example to tell, but this is what we want. We want all those baby boomers also to come out, assist us, and especially during the challenges time when we don't have much of a manpower and we have business on books good is what we wanted the talent to be used. And also skill-based associates, especially in Goa, it's not very easy to get anybody on board. So what we're doing is, as you rightly said, there's so much of, outbound where all the associates want to work here for a while and go up to abroad. And especially, as you rightly said, a lot of Portuguese want to gain that experience and go. The only thing what we've done is looking at the challenges we've turned around to as a success. We've started to meet every associate and tell them what next for them. There's an 100% clarity for them what they're going to get in next 6 months, what they're going to get in 1 year. Said that also, when we do this, we'll actually structure it in such a way that we don't lose on any of those associates. We want to make sure that the challenge as a success, where we want to make them as a part of the family in the hotel, and also empower across all the associates. We have.
So what I'm hearing from you is, one, if you walk them through their career progression, and they are not in the dark of what is going to happen to them.
Yes.
Right. They will be assured. They'll be assured, and they will be around.
Yes.
Right? And they'll be able to deliver better. One. Right.
Yes.
We human beings are victims of our own insecurity. If
True.
that is managed,
yeah,
we shall be at comfort. Not comfort to go and sleep in the room. Right. And two is also about multitasking.
Multitask, absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So if he's somebody who's in the front office, he should be able to go and serve. Right. Or he's in the security, he should be able to handle concierge, or vice versa.
Absolutely.
I'm going to, I have another part of the question.
Yes.
I'll come back to you on that.
Yes.
If I'm seeing we're already at 6:02, then I'll come back to you on that.
Sure.
Right now I'm shooting to SURAJIT. SURAJIT, tell me what has been the learning over the last 2 years, and how have we effected changes, be it people, processes. Of course, we've been this off-beaten thing of the digital way of life across 360 degrees of a hotel's business at the back end and front-facing towards the guest.
Well, it's been pretty challenging actually. I joined this hotel, and that to a pre-opening stage, and when the pandemic exactly hit. So we have been facing a lot of challenges in terms of people, definitely processes, and in a small city like Goa, we had quite a few challenges in terms of getting the right skill level. So if I talk about people, we had one thing which helped us a lot is task force, because I was a pre-opening in a new hotel and setting up. We were supposed to open, then we stopped. We again were supposed to open, we stopped, and then we opened finally. So hiring, training was very important for people. A lot of things happened digitally, virtual hiring. I had to send people to my, other brand of hotels to hire which city they are coming from. Of course, local hiring has helped a lot, because that time, everybody was looking for a job, and we hired a lot of local people, like my HR manager, my security manager. They helped a lot. But yes, to get the correct skill-based skills, and like I can't have somebody in the kitchen who is just a fresher to run the hotel and open the hotel. Right? To get those skill-based people was a big challenge, wherein the one good resource was task force from other hotels which were not that busy. The impact was felt in the industry in a big way due to a lot of people migrating from the hospitality industry as well. And there was a massive shortage of workforce at one time. And still we are facing that challenge. We are recruiting every day. So recruitment has become a daily process, in fact, and every hotel or every, I'm sure my colleagues.
Tell me, Surajit, if you're not able to ramp up your quota of employees, can you say manage with your existing staff strength?
Yes, we do. We do. Like, Sunil gave an example of his HR managing the omelette counter. So exactly. What we also do is we as an entire head of department team and, the duty managers and the front office managers, we go and assist guests during the breakfast time because that's the busiest, meal period for all the hotels in Goa, especially. And they all come at one go and you can't say that, we are closed or something like that. So the breakfast actually runs till 11:30, 12. So, it is good for a cross exposure, especially for operation department. And there are people who have changed, from a housekeeping, who's a fresher to a food and beverage. And we have actually got good talent pool from internally as well. So this is one thing for the people resources. Another thing was with COVID-19, housekeeping has been a very, very critical area, right? Become more critical than ever in last 2 years. And, those teams who were helping the people who were in quarantine, remaining in the hotel, the cleanliness, the hygiene to maintain in all areas, especially in guest areas and public areas in the rooms, was a tough task. So that was one area where we had to hold back our people and give them extra training, give them extra hours and take care of them. So that was a very, very key area.
This is so encouraging and reassuring. The good thing is that everybody has stepped up.
Absolutely.
Right? Everybody has stepped up to the cause. People have had stresses at work. They've also got stresses in the family. The family supported them. And I think that is where, as general managers, you've played a great role, right?
So we are an industry where not everything works virtually. We have to be on the field.
Absolutely.
We have to be on our toes and, talk to people. And so we have to come to the hotel and actually see what's happening, what's not. Because, getting the right skill in light labor, as I said, was a big, big challenge.
So I get a sense, Surajit, thank you for this. I shall now come back to you, Mr. Menon. Casinos. You're the man in the hot seat. You're the only one here who's actually managing one. I have to come and see that. So Goa and Sikkim are the two happening destinations for the ones who want to shuffle cards, place bets, be it on all that casinos have to offer, poker or their roulette or whatever. Do you have a roulette over there?
Yes, we have a roulette.
And the slot machines as well?
That's right, yeah. Because we run a land casino. It's not an offshore casino, that's right.
Yeah, no, so I get it. So tell me, what is the casino's mechanism as per state policy for the hospitality industry, and how can you get into the circuit? One, what impact does it have? The challenges, opportunities, ups and downs. Very briefly, as you would realize, I'm rushing slightly. So
no, I fully understand. See, the first casino was started in Goa in December 1993. Goa Nugget and Goa Renaissance. In fact, Macau started casino 10 years after Goa started the first casino.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And the first offshore casino started in February 2001. That is MV Caravella, which is again launched by the same company, Advani Hotels. And in December 2012 to 2013, the annual casino operation license was costing only rupees 12 lakhs. At that time, South Goa had 7 land casinos. And today, we pay 12 crore per annum, which is 100 times the cost. So that is one of the main reasons we are the only land casino in the entire South Goa where from 7 casinos come down to only 1. And currently Goa has around 5 offshore casinos and around 10 or 11 land casinos. No doubt this very high annual casino operation license fee is one of the biggest challenges that the industry is facing. Even we every year contemplate whether we need to keep it open or closed. It is a huge challenge now, especially post-COVID. We had to shut down the casino during long time. Again, business has to pick up. You need disposable income with people to come and spend the money. So a whole lot of challenges. And today, casinos are only available or can operate only in 5-star hotels. And other than Goa and Sikkim, even Daman has got a casino. Sikkim has got 3 casinos there. And the offshore casinos where the real live gaming takes place, and land casinos like the one we operate is where gaming takes place more for entertainment, is more for experience, because any Indian guest who comes from any part of India, I mean, they want to experience a casino. They want to see what a casino looks like. It is more of entertainment. It's not the real live gamers actually go to the offshore casino. We have got the big ships like the Delta Corporation. They run some of the biggest operations in India. And post-COVID, honestly, after COVID, we are still trying to recover. The footfalls have drastically come down. In fact, after the second wave and the third wave, the footfalls have come down by nearly 70 to 80%. And in the last 2 months, we had elections also. That also hit the number of people coming into the casino. So overall, in the current VUCA environment, where there's so much of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, running a casino is a huge challenge, many a times a nightmare. And with all
they've killed it by upping the fee by 100 times.
100 times,
so I guess it's harakiri.
Yeah.
Thank you. That gives me a sense, Mr. Menon. Arjun, I'm coming to you.
Yes.
Tell me, how different is the role of a general manager managing a hotel in Goa as against someone who manages a hotel in a Delhi, Mumbai, or a Bangalore? And what are the challenges? What characteristics come in handy for one to adapt fast and easily? This after the predecessor had handed down a brief to make it easier. Your predecessor must have given you a brief. There has to be a handover.
Like I said, Sunil and Mr. Menon actually covered this point as well. When you mentioned 3 cities, I was fortunate to work in 2 of them. I worked in Mumbai as well. I worked in Bangalore with big hotels, Lansing and JW Bangalore. Like Sunil rightly said, what we take it for granted in those cities, like electricity. A basic thing. As a general manager, we never focus on how much diesel I need to have in stock in a Mumbai or a Bangalore or a Delhi, because there is no question of power cuts. But come to Goa, that's one of the first thing we do as a general managers, sit with the engineers and see how much diesel I have in stock. What is the next? In Delhi, Mumbai, it's only when there is a rarest of the rare case when there is a power outage. For us, it's a daily affair. Like you rightly said.
I, for instance, in Delhi, don't even have an inverter.
Exactly. And I need to run not only with the 2 DGs I have another 1000 kVA rental on hire at my property right now as we speak, because our voltage is also fluctuating. There's an issue. So like I said, what is taken for granted in cities and metros, in Goa, that's actually, I don't say a challenge, it's an area of improvement or an opportunity for us as well. This is in terms of managing the business. When I talk about my guests, right? It's distinct difference between a business traveler and a leisure traveler, right? They're here, leisure traveler needs, I don't say they look for deals, but they need value for money. Every penny is coming out of their own hard-earned money. The vacation is planned after. They need to look after their families well. So biggest opportunity for our team members is also that make sure it's a relationship-driven business, not just transactional. Understand, be more empathetic with the guest. Like I said, as long as I look after a kid who's traveling with the family, parents are taken care of. Kid has a great vacation, we are absolutely fine. Recently, we have become a pet-friendly hotel. I see the amount of positive responses we get from our guests, right? I think I make sure I meet all my awesome guests on arrival and on departure, because I personally love them. And the guests tell me that the fact that you are pet-friendly, the fact that my pet is looked after well because of family, and my vacation is sorted. right? So that's what we tell our team members as well. Be very empathetic. All my colleagues also mentioned breakfast in Mumbai maybe shuts at 10:30 or 11 max on the weekend. For us, 12 noon breakfast is an everyday affair. I was thinking I was the only hotel, but I am very happy to see that every hotel in Goa almost does a 12 noon breakfast, right? So yeah, this is challenge, opportunity, however you want to call it, but it's fun. I don't expect a guest who comes to Goa, parties till 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, can't expect to ask him to come at 8 o'clock in the morning for breakfast, right? While we have a lot of billboards placed, 8 o'clock, very quiet period, 10 to 11:30, it's sheer madness, heavy volumes, but who reads that? Everybody comes in at 10:30. That's the closing time, but I'm full at that time.
Not your holiday, but for a holiday for them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, now we started understanding them, right? So I see the challenges and opportunities. So even my chefs, everybody, they're very used to. They now have a refill, fresh idlis, dosas coming in at 11 a.m. I said, that's the time where normally you're supposed to be closing the buffet. I have fresh donuts coming in, donut wall getting refilled, idlis getting refilled. That's fun. So I think great opportunity as well. And what we take for granted in cities, unfortunately, is not from electricity to water discharge. I only hope these things get better so that operating a hotel here becomes much, much easier. We spend considerably a lot of time on things which we don't do in a city hotel otherwise.
Yeah, I'm sure, India's coming of age, and I'm sure Goa's come thus far, and they just have a short leap to catch up. So, why we don't take holidays together?
Yeah.
My wife and my kids, we have 2 little fellows at home, Gabbar and Samba.
Oh,
right. So if we cannot take them along, we don't go for a holiday.
But now you know where to come.
Yeah, I know, but flying them to Goa, the airlines will not take them.
Drive them. I have many guys drive them purely because
people are driving from Punjab.
Yeah, exactly.
No, can you imagine? Can you imagine? I should any so yeah, my little fellows we have to take them along wherever we go.
I think my team and I would really love to see Sima at the hotel soon.
Gabbar and Samba, if you don't mind.
Samba.
Yeah.
I love the names.
Yeah. So they're there. So I'm going to come back to you, Sunil, for a quick one to slip in. Short response, right?
Yes.
Tell me, how's the hospitality sector getting adapted to the evolving consumer demands, the good, bad, and the ugly?
Okay. So luxury buying demand curve, of course, as in last 2 years has curved on, said that, segments like, B grade cities have actually helped us to come back to business and look the numbers, as we projected. To our surprise, B grade cities have actually gone, we've never seen them traveling. We've never seen them in hotels. Even if we didn't see them to have the spending power then as much as they have now. Honestly, in terms of, they go to the hotels where the ADR is less, so that the recreation facilities, the food and beverage facilities, they want to use it and spend as much as they can.
I must tell you.
Yes, please.
Higher you are on the SEC ladder,
yes,
A, B, or C, the meaner you become.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
They can be very, very tough customers. मैं तुमको 20,000 रुपया कमरे का दिन का दे रहा हूं.
Yes.
Short of getting you to dance in front of them, they will do all, because they won't throw these tantrums in their house, but they will over here.
Yes.
And then they will, land you down with a bad review.
So right. Yeah. So right. Things like staycations when we were launching, and when earlier staycations where the hotels were only leisure hotels, especially during off seasons, is what they used to promote. Now Mumbai, Delhi, that has become a part of our lives now. Staycation has become everybody's business. And also to home deliveries, we call it as Marriott on Wheels. We always said those are only for select services. Today even luxury hotels are doing so.
Oh, absolutely.
So
thank God for these opportunities.
Yes.
So I mean, these staycations, homestays, these deliveries, and of course laundry on demand.
Laundry on demand, absolutely.
Right. So these are such. Did we ever think of them 2 years ago, Mr. Menon? We never thought of them. We only waited for the guests to come and order.
Yeah, even if it did, we always said, this is not a luxury hotel, and luxury hotels will never go up to, delivering home to home. And today, that's become a part and parcel of your life, and we really want to go forward and do that, and that's become part of your P&L too now.
Excellent. So that comes into your budgets. I'm now going to come back to you, Ricardo. Ricardo, you are the only one on the panel with a city located asset, right? Which is right there in the heart of the city. What is the upside of being in the city, or for that matter, in the state capital?
A lot of advantages being in the heart of the city. Like you said, the state capital, I can tell you, the elections just got over and we were in the midst of the action. We had press conferences, we had meetings, we had interviews happening, a lot happening. So we were in the midst of it.
But do they pay? Do they pay?
Yes. Everything is paid for.
And they pay good bucks?
They do.
Are you laughing?
Surprising. They do.
All right. Suveer's mind says it all.
They do. At least in Goa, they do. So that's the good thing about it, right? And you also get to benefit from all segments. Certainly corporate, leisure, MICE, long staying, weddings, everything happens in Goa. And we just, in December, just before Christmas, we had a huge doctors conference for 1,500 people in the city with their families, and the entire city hosted the doctors. So a lot happens in Panjim. In a 5-kilometer radius from the heart of the city, you have the shopping district, you have the central business district, you have culture. Panjim is also the cultural capital of Goa.
Yes, it is.
So you have so much happening from a cultural aspect. You have the beautiful Mandavi River, the promenades with rain trees. You go across the river, you have the secretariat. So there's a lot happening there in Panjim because of the location, because of where it is and how important it is. Today, with all the infrastructure development that's happening, so there's a lot more long stayers, and that's a segment that you get in Panjim. The 3 industrial estates that you have in Goa, they prefer their guests to stay in Panjim because there's so much more to do at the end of the day, rather than staying closer to the estate where those people then don't have anything to do. So being in Panjim, you bang in the midst of it. We've been the base hotel for Press Information Bureau for the last 5 years since we've opened during IFFI. We've also been the base hotel for Serendipity and Ironman, and we're looking forward to all that happening again this year.
Oh, this is excellent. So good news and business assured.
Very true.
All right. Excellent, Ricardo. Mr. Menon, last but not the least, what, according to you, is the short-term impact of the Ukraine crisis and the resurgence of COVID in certain parts of the world? What's their impact on the Goa hospitality business?
I think the immediate challenge is obviously going to be, the energy prices shooting up. You must have seen energy price even today morning when I was watching BBC touch $122, $123 a barrel, which is roughly around 50% more than what is a month back. So that is going to be a killer. For example, today, when I signed a check for a diesel tank, full diesel tank, I was paying nearly 35% more than what I paid last time. So obviously it will have a cascading effect on airfares going up. Those days of cheap airfares are over, 2,500, 3,000 rupees. You won't get anything below 4,500, 5,000. And closer to date, obviously the fares will shoot up. Other than that, the food prices are going up. Chicken prices, the feed has gone up by 30%. I think the chicken prices are going up by at least 35 to 40% in the immediate run. And cooking oil, sunflower oil, for example, 70% is imported from Ukraine. And the base is palm for most of the oils, which is again coming from Malaysia. The demand is so high, the price has gone up by 45%. So basically these two items, only chicken and cooking oil, they contribute to around 15 to 17% of your food cost. So that is going to see a major spike of at least 30 to 35%. The positive part I feel is summer holidays coming in. I think the large number of HNIs and upper class Indians who are planning a holiday in Europe, actually put that in the deep freezer. They will again looking at traveling within the country. And again, COVID also resurgence in Europe is going to be a dampener for the outbound holidays, people planning to go to Europe. So I think Goa will definitely have better days to come in the short run. But the new trend is going to, people cannot afford to book last minute. You'll have people booking at least a couple of weeks from before. And again, people driving down by road is going to come back like what happened after the first wave. I think these are all the short-term changes that you can look at. And no doubt, it'll hit the economy sooner than later. Disposable income, again, it is going to be a wait and watch situation. And like the situation is still a lot of uncertainty around and not much clarity, we'll have to wait and watch and see how things evolve. Earlier the war gets over, the better for everybody, but it doesn't look like now. I think we'll have to wait and watch and play safe.
I don't think they want it to be over.
Yeah.
I think nobody's trying to shut it off.
Yeah.
Nobody's pulling back. They're all pulling back on punches. You know, so it's sad. War never helps no one. But I guess that's another topic. We leave it for the serious discussions. Here for the hospitality industry, the sense that I get about Goa is extremely positive. I'm so delighted that I have been able to do 2 shows, and getting opinions of 12 general managers is quite a bit of an opinion. All in all, Goa looks good. Goa is the engine of the hospitality industry in India. There was a time when Kerala was. Now Goa, Rajasthan, of course, the metros, the 5 metros are doing well. But given this scenario of international travel and high fares, of course, there's going to be certain impact. And let us keep our fingers crossed. Let us touch wood. And the industry is in good hands with you, gentlemen. I shall briefly introduce the next show before we say bye to each other. The next show is going to be our last show of the current season, the 2022, the GM Show series. It's about evolving role of hotel general managers. That's a very important discussion because general management in such times is going to be a very brave job, and it needs a lot of out-of-box thinking. So we'll hear another 6 general managers on the 29th, which is coming Tuesday at 5 p.m. Be there, encourage us. And we'd like to thank all our speakers on the show today, the team at BW and BW Hotelier, who are managing it, my editorial colleagues, my marketing colleagues, all of them, the video team, the social media team, all of them. Thank you for being there, for supporting us. And of course, last but not the least, keep following us. And to the legion of followers of each of the general managers who've been there, not today, for the previous 18 and the ones who are coming in next week, thank you all for being there. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you, Mr. Menon, SURAJIT, Suveer, Ricardo, Sunil. It's been wonderful sharing this space with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You,